So there's a very good chance that we have 3 weeks of complete chaos. And I want to bring this up because in just 3 weeks, we have the election. That is November 8th. That is a very important date to remember. Also, here's another thing that you need to remember. Right now, lawmakers are going to fight tooth and nail to make sure they win their seats in the next Congress. Guaranteed. Well, we have some issues though. There is now a 100% chance or probability that the US dips into a recession within the coming year. That is at least according to Bloomberg economic forecast model. And again, this is a major blow to Democrats and President Biden, because if we dip into a recession, that means we're also going to see higher unemployment numbers. We're going to see layoffs, right? We're going to see people lose their purchasing power even more. And at the same time, we also are hearing from the White House economic advisor, Cecilia Roos, and she says the U.S. is better positioned than most other countries when it comes to mitigating inflation. She also went on to talk about the job of the Federal Reserve, and she said, and I quote, "We are starting to see signs that the actions they are taking is having an effect." Okay, but here's the problem, and I want to address this because I think so many people are completely missing this, is that back in 2021, let's go back to 2020 for a second. Back in 2020, we heard from many economists that were saying that the Trump administration, they and Congress and the Federal Reserve, Treasury, lump them all together, that they were actually stimulating the economy too much, and if they continued to do that, we would see higher inflation. That's what we saw. Then let's fast forward to 2021. An economist predicted that the Fed was just too slow to act. As a result, we would see higher inflation. And now we have the Bank of America coming out and saying that inflation could run hot for another 10 years. That is crazy. But why would they say this? Why is Bank of America coming out now and saying that we could see inflation run hot for the next 10 years? Well, it's simple. Bank of America said, and I quote, "Historically, it takes an average of 10 years for a developed economy to return to 2% inflation once the 5% threshold has been breached." We blew right past that 5% threshold. We went over 9%. We blew right past it, almost double. And it's going to take 10 years for a developed economy to go back to 2%. This is why many are predicting 2% is a thing of the past. We're never going to see 2% again. Never going to see it again. We're going to now start to see inflation at 3 to 4% moving forward. That will be the new normal, right? Again, it's crazy what's happening, but this is why the next 3 weeks could be complete chaos. Complete chaos. If there's a 100% chance of a recession, we know we're going to see higher inflation numbers, maybe not up over 9% or 10%, but could they stay at 6 to 7% for the next year? Yeah, they could. And this is part of the problem. And when we are expecting record high prices coupled with a possible recession, this could be complete disaster for the United States, but mainly lower income and middle income households. But we must keep in mind that the US economy is not just the US economy. It's tied to very large economies outside of our country. For example, China, right? Russia, yeah, Europe. We're tied to all these economies. Let me give you an example here, okay? Let me just explain this. China, if they dip into a recession, the United States is going to feel the effects. They will feel the effects. We're already feeling the impact. And just think about this for a second. When China goes into a lockdown, or when China is feeling that, okay, we have to slow our hiring. We have to lay off some people in manufacturing because guess what? There's not as many purchases coming through. Guess what? it really slows down. And if the purchases aren't coming through from a European country and the manufacturer is laying off employees, and guess what? The United States is making the purchase, but sorry, we just laid off a quarter of our staff. Well, guess who feels the impact? The United States and Europe. So it's not just our economy, it's everybody. But again, it comes down to these little things. And this is why I try to bring this up, is because a lot of people tell me, oh, you're crazy. We're not going to dip into a recession. We're not going to see, stores just not have the products this Christmas that we are wanting to buy. I can tell you you're wrong, because stores like Walmart and Target and Costco, right, Kohl's, Dick's Sporting Goods, right, Macy's, they're not buying the inventory that they were planning on buying. They've scaled back, and that's troubling. You know something else that's troubling though? Just yesterday, on Monday, China was supposed to release their GDP and other economic data. They didn't do so. They actually delayed this without any explanation at all. But some are actually saying that there was an explanation. They just didn't need to give it. It was because of the 20th Party Congress. And that should be prioritized over the release of key economic data. But this brings up another question. The economy is not what is important to the Chinese government at this time, keeping offices. The same goes for Democrats here in the United States. Right now, President Biden, he's doing what he can to try to win Democrats more seats in Congress. Well, that's creating a problem. Is he willing to put other things up on that pedestal as more important pieces and put other things in jeopardy as a result? The answer is yes, he is. I want to bring up this story right here because as of yesterday as well, what we're hearing is there are now reports that the U.S. could sell even more oil from our Strategic Petroleum Reserve this week in order to keep gas prices low temporarily. But by selling more oil, this actually puts more pressure on our emergency reserve because we are already at record lows. That's what we're hearing. So again, I bring this all up because we are going to see about 3 weeks of complete chaos. I saw a comment today, wanted to touch on this because you're right. Someone says, oh, it's the doom and gloom channel, it's the bad news guy. Unfortunately, that's what I've become because that's the news that's out there and I want to make sure you guys are prepared. But hopefully after just 3 to 4 weeks, once we get through this entire election, then it will be more good news, more positivity, and I can help you kind of navigate into a better direction for the rest of 2022 and all the way into 2023. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.